Hi, everyone. This is Susan Serra here, and welcome to the next edition of The Modern Kitchen. So it's here in The Modern Kitchen where we talk about issues and different topics and tools that are relevant to us in the kitchen and bath community. And so each week we have a special guest who can just give us a little more insight and information to make our businesses flow a little more smoothly. I'm very thrilled today to have with me as a guest Laurie Laizure, who I probably interact with almost every day. Hi, Laurie.
Hi, Susan.
Hi. So great to have us with you. And Laurie is a woman of many, many talents. Laurie is the founder. She's the CEO of Customized Walls, which is a printing business, and they print beautiful, very high quality murals. I have seen them, I have used them, and they are wonderful. Laurie is the founder of the interior design community here on Google+, which is rapidly approaching 20,000 members. So if you have not been to the interior design community at this point, you need to go, because your mind will explode with all the wonderful inspiration from that community. So it's a great community. Laurie is also the principal of a very exciting new endeavor, which is Plus My Reach. And Plus My Reach is a new tool which measures Google Plus Hangouts and posts, which is really very interesting. So from time to time we need, if we're us as a business, if we're doing a pitch to our peers or brand or whoever, editors, it's helpful to show them something with substance, with real numbers, and up to now for Google Plus it has not been available. So Laurie is on, as we say, the ground floor of this major new analytical tool. And besides all that, Laurie's a social media guru extraordinaire. So we're happy to have you with us, Laurie. And today's topic is just general social questions. You know so much. I know you know so much about social in all of its forms, or many of its forms, and search and things like that. And on my end, I think I probably represent a large segment of designers, whether it's kitchen and bath or interior design, who they know a certain amount, but time is limited. Where do you put your resources? What are good resources to use and tools and things like that? So, I have lots of questions for you.
Sure.
But let me first turn it over to you and tell me, do you have any general thoughts on how designers should look at social, think about it, use it? Anything you can start off with?
Okay, well, first off, my very first thought about social is that it is real estate. It's another place to put your product out there. It's another place to put your service out there. Not everyone can do every social media out there, and there are always new ones popping up, and some are great to help you get clients, some are not. But the key is that the bigger social networks, you should absolutely own that real estate. A big mistake sometimes can be you don't go in, you don't, when the platform is new, you don't make your user handle and identify that right away, and someone else owns it, and now you're I'll use my name, at Customized Walls on Twitter, at Customized-Walls on Instagram, and it is real estate, and it's no longer do you have to just worry about owning your website URL. You really should have your social URLs also, and they all should be very similar or the same. And even big companies, might not have gotten into Google Plus, or they might not have gotten into Twitter early enough to be able to claim their names. And I do believe that that's the very first step, even if you're not going to participate. Just owning those names so that no one else can, and no one else is marketing under your name, and that's a really important thing, and to be consistent.
That's great advice. Tell me something. Let's talk a little bit about Google Plus first. You know, it has a little. There's a little bit of controversy surrounding it, meaning that some designers, they just are not interested. They know it exists, but they say, I just can't go there. I can't do it. And surprisingly to me, so many brands do not have a significant presence on Google Plus. I love Google Plus because I feel it's some sort of it's a platform it's not personal. It's friendly. You can have beautiful images on it. You can put as much text on it as you want to. There are communities. I find everything good about it. But tell me why you think we're not having the influx from our design community. You know, that we should have.
Well, the main reason that I believe is that we're new. I mean, Google Plus is very new. It's not even 3 years old, and Facebook is, I think, like 9 years old or something like that. So, you know, I think that because it's new, it's just, and it's already, that market is so saturated. We've got, you know, Facebook, and then Twitter, and then Instagram, and Pinterest, and now it's another one. I think it came out when people are starting to just feel overwhelmed. And so there is a reluctance to join because you just don't have time to manage all of these different social media platforms. And you want to be comfortable in the platform, and the one that you've used the longest might be Facebook. But for me, we've been marketing on social media quite a bit. When I first started Customized Walls, I definitely saw Google Plus start and saw, you know, that it was what was, you know, who was here first, and that was the SEO guy. So I could definitely tell that there was some correlation with search results first and your posts on Google Plus. But even I was reluctant. I didn't feel that my customers were here, and you know, if I'm going to market on a platform, I was trying to find clients, people who I could convert to customers, and I didn't think that was necessarily there. And I think some brands are still struggling with that. Are customers here? Are they engaging? I think you can see, if you've been part of Google Plus for a while now, the engagement is better than on many other networks. The click-throughs are better. The comments are better. The comments are more thoughtful. Your likes or your plus ones are much greater when you put out good content. And so definitely, you know, there are conversions happening here. There are customers here. But truly, it's still that link to Google search that makes it an incredible part of my strategy. So, you know, I definitely think that the other networks are great. I mean, I post on Facebook. Facebook, my business pages, less so because of that change that happened where, you know, I actually had a pretty active Facebook account. I had 5,000 followers, which is, you know, for me was pretty good, small business owner. And I used to get tremendous amount of engagement. People all liked my posts, shared my posts. And it was very soon after these algorithm changes that it was like night and day. I was just not getting the engagement. And honestly, truly, I felt like, you know what, I've had enough of it for free. I get that Facebook needs to make money. So I will pay, and I'll promote posts. And I did. And I spent a good amount of money on it. I would say that I budgeted about $1,000 to play with and understand it and get to know how to utilize the ads and get to know how to promote posts. And I never really got the same engagers back or the same type of engagement back. I certainly got links, and clicks, you know, likes and that kind of thing, but I just didn't get people who are clicking over and looking at the product as much anymore. And so for me, it was time to look at something different that would help me, you know, share my product, get to know people that could potentially be customers of mine, and focus on something new that might do that. And I think that that's true for a lot of social media big players out there. I mean, you're going to see some of these guys rise and fall because, you know, people want new. They want something different. And, you know, I thought that the Google Plus communities, when communities started, was a great way for me to definitely find that group of people that actually would be clients of mine or would work with me or would, you know, I could learn from them. And so when I saw that communities was starting and I looked at how communities, you know, what the function of communities would be, I very quickly, again, like a land rush, like you know, that real estate that you want to purchase, you know, I went in and claimed interior design community right off. And I sent messages out to some people that I knew through other social media platforms, and I had over 100 people sign up on the first day, which I thought was fantastic. And it's just really sort of taken off from there on its own, which is really exciting.
It has taken off, and we're approaching 20,000 people, and
Yeah.
and we're just becoming well known by all of the brands and the other, you know, the trade shows and so on and so forth. So I'm thrilled to be the kitchen and bath moderator for the interior design community. Tell me something.
That was actually real key too, was, you know, making sure that, you know, I knew that I had some answers. I had built a website. I had struggled with that website. I had struggled with learning social media, and I felt like we were all in the same boat. Interior designers who might purchase from me and myself, and even brands that I might want to connect with. We were all sort of in the same boat together. So for me, it was an outlet where I could sort of share the information that I had, and I was hoping other people would share information that they had, and we could sort of create this great community where people would work together. And, you know, was very shortly on, we had, you know, volunteers to help, and, you know, you know, going after people that would be really great for the community too, like you, Susan. So I think that we've created this great environment where people can ask questions. They can, you know, not be afraid that it's a dumb question, and, you know, tell us their struggles with their business, tell us their struggles with what they need to do for being found online and found, you know, marketing through social media. And, you know, it's really given us all a really great position to be able to sort of work together, which I think is the whole point of social media.
Yeah, it sure is. Let me take you back to Facebook, because there are three things I want to mention about Facebook. First of all, you know, I have read in multiple places that people may not be in a buying mood, in a buying place when they're on Facebook. They're there for, you know, casual, relaxed, social reasons. So that's one thing. The second thing, however, conversely, you have brands that have easy 100,000 plus likes, and so then almost why do you think that affects their thinking about going over to Google Plus if they have this large contingent of fans on Facebook? And the other thing, and you don't have to remember all these, I'll repeat them, but I just want to remember. The other thing is, if I have 2,000 likes, which I do on my business page, but only 11 people see my posts, why am I doing it? And maybe I should just close it down. What are some of your thoughts on that?
A lot of businesses have done just that. I mean, I believe there's a website called E24, I believe it was called, and they wrote the open letter to Facebook about the likes that they were getting, the quality of the likes that they were getting, and the relationship that they had with the people who liked their page, and now not being able to have their posts get on those pages anymore. And, you know, I think people have to remember that it is a closed network, and it's a site. It's like belonging to a club, and, you know, they're allowed to make the rules, and they're allowed to say who sees your post and who doesn't see your post. And it's no one went on there with a promise that you were gonna be able to market and you were gonna get a ton of customers from Facebook. And I think it's understandable that they saw, businesses getting business from their business pages and wanting to monetize that in a way that made sense for Facebook. But I think that some of those decisions have led people away from it because they're just not getting that engagement anymore. And I'm not saying that they're coming to Google Plus either. They might be spending more time on Pinterest, maybe spending more time on Instagram, also new social networks that are really taking off with younger people and with women and with people who are interested in who make some buying decisions, home buying decisions in particular.
Mm-hmm.
But the other key to know about those platforms is that they're also, club-like platforms where you're not going to go out right into search. And that's the real difference between Google Plus and some of these other platforms, is that you can actually find those products on search. Pinterest you can, but you have to have your dealer, say that you're a brand, and then you have to have this piece of code that goes onto your homepage, and then they will allow, they'll put that link where it can be found in search. Not everybody, handful of people do that. Small businesses don't usually know even how to put that code onto their homepage, and I think that Instagram is the same thing. It's more of a phone app, so it's great to play with, and you're looking at it, and it's I love it for for that ability to search on one hashtag and find a ton of information. Like, I will always search Instagram for trade shows. I love it. And I can see like every, you feel like you were there even if you weren't there just by looking at the Instagram.
Yeah, you really do. You really do. Now, one thing that is, it's almost conventional wisdom that I've heard multiple places, which is, is it better to focus on one or two, which you touched on a little bit, one or two social platforms that you enjoy, rather than, I spread myself across a number of them, and I'm not so sure I do any one as well as I could, because I just feel like I should touch all of them. What do you think about that?
I agree. I think that you should really focus on the platforms that make sense for your business long term, and I think that you should. But at the same time, I don't think you should put all of your eggs in one basket. One platform might be popular today and then go away tomorrow. So I think it's a balance of making sure you own that real estate across the board and focus where the clients tend to go, and that will be, I believe, an evolving thing. But for me, one of my major reasons I chose Google Plus is because of that link to search. And for me, that was a way for me to create content and share content in a way that would be found on search and not just found in the social media platforms. So to me, it's that double, I only have so much time to, believe it or not, and I want the platform that will, do double duty for me. But I do believe that there will be tools out there in the future that will make it easier for people to, work on multiple platforms at once. They have Buffer and Hootsuite and Friends Plus Me. But I think that even in that, there can be more intuitive ways to, automatically it needs to sort of work like it does for email marketing in the way that it can be automatic and can not take a business owner too much time. So I think that those things will evolve. Right now it's very segmented. You've got, you're all these different networks, and they're all over the place, and you try to, throw, content at all of them, and sometimes in tools that do it, at once or vary the times. But I think that there will eventually be more intuitive tools that will automatically do some things for you, automatically thank the people that, just shared your content, or automatically, send people who like one post to a different post that you have, or a different product that you have. I can see that will automate at some point.
So interesting. You are such a visionary, and that's why I really wanted to have you, speak to, our industry. Tell me something. Another thing that I sort of get from the, you know, the airwaves or whatever, is that there's some sort of synergy between Pinterest and Google Plus, that they play well together, they work well together. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely. I'm a big Pinterest fan.
And explain it to me, because all I know is there's some kind of synergy between the two.
Well, you can clearly tell that Google Plus in their redesign, probably about I think it was like a year ago, that they went to a Pinterest style in the columns. You know, they having 3 columns, you know, having, you know, more of a gallery wall type of feed, and quite often those posts would be portrait like Pinterest, but be larger, and they were more beautiful, but it was like a more beautiful version of Pinterest, I thought. And then there's also the Chrome plugin, if you have are using Chrome, where you can directly pin posts right from Google Plus, which is fantastic. And the other tool that I use, that I'm a huge fan of, because I am one of those people who loves to schedule things that I don't have time to pin all day long every day. But if I have some great content that I want to share with Pinterest, I can just use a site called viraltag.com, which allows me to, you know, have a whole group of posts and schedule those out, and it's pinning it every 10 minutes or every 20 minutes whenever I want, and I can keep that queue really populated, and pins can be going there that will lead people back to either my Google Plus profile or my Google Plus community. The important thing is not to change, you know, that URL and make it spammy, but to, you know, honor that actual URL. You are able to change that URL, but I wouldn't suggest it. You know, pin from where you think is interesting to keep your Pinterest followers happy and liking the product that you're pinning.
Yeah, that sounds like good advice. And this is actually, I'm going to be listening to this broadcast, I think, over and over and over, because my head's exploding from everything you're saying, really. Tell me, let's go to blogging. Now, I have a question. If you say you have a good amount of followers on a very good, healthy amount of followers on one of the social platforms, and say your blog does not have quite the traffic that, say you have more traffic on a social platform other than your blog, or say you have fallen out of love with your blog. I mean, how important is your blog as we call it a foundation? Is it still a foundation?
It really is, and I think that a lot of times this can get lost, and I think that definitely business owners are just overwhelmed. And I mean, I feel you. I am overwhelmed myself sometimes, and the blog takes longer to do rather than write this cute comment and have it go to 3 networks at once. And you feel like, you know, that's easier to manage for you. But long term, your blog is a piece, you know, a long piece of content that is continually bringing traffic. You know, if you're talking about the best new, I don't know, the best new colors to paint your door in the springtime, you know, that will get you interior design clients. You know, that will get you people who are interested in interior design. And instead of having those people be interested in that content because they saw it through social media the 1 or 2 or 5 times you might have shared that, they could find it through search, and they could find it through other means, even, you know, a year down the road, and you could be still getting traffic from it. So your own site is your own store, you know, and I believe that keeping that, you know, that up the best you possibly can. It's your site, you know, it's your home on the internet. The social's fun. It's a great way to share all of that content out, but your own site has to be good first, and your own site has to be bringing in your traffic first. And, you know, the same thing with, you know, even before you have a site, you know, we talked on an interior design community hangout about having Google Local, and that's as important as, you know, getting on the phone book before, you know, when you got your phone number and you were in the phone book and you could be searched. I mean, these things are more important, really. In the end of the day, that's more important than social.
Okay, so Tell me, what if you are a company that does either products or services nationally, and you don't have the resources or the type of business to go out locally? Do you need to nurture that local search?
If you're a national business, probably not. I mean, you can. We don't, at Customized Walls, we are a national company. We don't really focus on local sales because we really wouldn't get a tremendous amount from our local market. I mean, not that we wouldn't get anyone, but we wouldn't get a huge amount like we would focusing on more urban areas that like, custom printed, removable wallpaper. So, apartment complexes and luxury high-rise condominiums, those are more, the places we would like to market. But I think that it's harder once you put your name out there and try to appeal to everyone. So, still identifying your niche, still knowing who your clients are, still, writing content that would appeal to that client base and sharing it on the platforms that, your clients are there looking for things. For me, I mean, it definitely has been Pinterest. Google Plus helps me with my organic search results. And Twitter, I do a lot with those platforms.
Mm-hmm. I have another two questions, and our time is already, going out. It's really been, this has just gone so fast. Tell me something. Getting back to Google Plus, this is something I struggle with, and maybe others do, as we try to navigate the culture of Google Plus, and how much professional versus how much of your personality and your personal interests. What type of proportion do you think is the sweet spot for a personal profile? And of course there are page profiles, but I'm talking about a personal profile.
Yeah, I believe, you can, it's certain, people want to know and do business with people. So inserting some amount of your personality and some amount of your, yourself into your work is never really a bad idea, unless you're doing something that would really offend people. But I think that a good healthy 10-15% of personal pictures or something like that, maybe even a little bit less than that, but certainly in the way you talk and that your voice and understanding what that voice is. And you have to find what makes sense, because your sense of humor might not appeal to everyone, and you don't want to turn off customers with your political beliefs. I mean, that's really that's not really talk that you might want to get into on a professional platform. And I do believe Google Plus is much more professional facing than it's, to me, it's the social. It's social like Facebook, but it's like LinkedIn, really, where it's more professional people talking about real things instead of here's a picture of my baby, here's a picture of us going hiking, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. It has that kind of middle, feeling between, but it still has a human factor to it. The question is how much humanness, do you put into it? So that's, I don't know. I've also heard of 20%, more personality, 80% business.
Yeah.
For G Plus. Does that sound like a?
I think. While all of that is true, it's about making sure you keep off the hot topics that really you don't want to talk politics, you don't want to talk religion, you don't want to talk race as much. If there are hot button issues, you are a brand, and if it's you as yourself that is a brand, I wouldn't get into fights. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be social media. It's not. You're not going to do any favors for yourself to start a war with anyone or start arguments or debates, through social media. And I think a lot of people get fed up with that kind of behavior very, very fast. It never makes anyone look good, anyone. So, it's certainly insert your personality. People want to know you. They want to know, have a little bit of a sense of humor, have, like that you can like the current, song on the radio. You can show a picture of you and your dog, but in there, it has to be a certain type of social, showing yourself. You have to guard some of it also.
Mm-hmm. Thanks very much. One more question, and then I think our time will be up. And back to blogging. Is there also a sweet spot in terms of the length of posts that that Google likes? I've heard that it's been increasing, 700 words plus. I'm not sure. Do you know about that?
I can see that, and definitely Google likes content that, from what I can gather, and I've done a lot of reading about this, Google likes content that people come to over and over again. So you might make a post about, I'm just thinking for interior design, it could be, best, flooring for farmhouses, and instead of maybe writing that post again in 3 years when you are interested, maybe going back to that post as you build a catalog of posts and refreshing it, editing it, resharing it. And it originally shared a long time ago, but now it could be a longer post, more thought, more complete work. But on the other hand, the posts I see come through my eyes every day, it's all fresh, it's all new. It doesn't have to be, 500, 700 words. Sometimes I have just a picture and a little paragraph and I read it. I do. So a lot of it is about making content that your clients, your customers want, whether it's long or short. And there are definitely some rules for search, but there are also ways around that through social media as well. So, and make your when you're sharing it through social, make people curious, make people want to know why if they can click. Like if you were sharing this video right now, you might say, learn some 5 secrets about social media from a top social media expert. Not that I am, but I'm just saying that that's what you want to make people curious when you're sharing that information.
Yeah. And I'm going to get one more out of you, Laurie, and that is, tell me what some of your favorite newsletters are that go into your inbox.
Oh, I love a lot of, I'm a blog reader. Also, we do a brag about your blog on interior design community. Most Tuesdays, it's been a little bit less so with the kids getting out of school the last few weeks, but that's my favorite thing to do, actually, is read through the blogs from our members and read through the blogs of my friends here on Google+. And I learn so much every day from it. I really take time to learn something all the time, every day.
How about any SEO or social media newsletters that you particularly like?
It's all of our friends here on Google+. I definitely read, Stefan's, and I read a lot of the blog posts that David Amerlin's making, or there's tons that here that have become trusted resources.
It's unbelievable information on Google+, just unbelievable, just really,
it is like when people don't really truly get it, but years ago you'd have like chat rooms and you'd have message boards and people could ask questions, and they didn't have to necessarily worry about, they could have an anonymous name and they didn't have to worry about looking stupid, and they could say, how to do that, how do you do this, how do you do that, and people would answer you. They sometimes would build, huge long answers, or they'd help you. And, a lot of that is still there, but a lot of it has gone away, and now you have Google+, where people are a little bit more, it definitely is more transparent, but people here are asking those questions, are asking, going into communities for SEO, going into communities about new business, going into communities about Google Local. And if there's a question you have, usually there's a community here, there's a group of people that are willing to answer questions, and it's free because they want to help. They just want to help you, and that isn't on any other social media platform that I know of. So I think that that's a really great resource. It's just completely undervalued at this point.
Yeah, I agree. And Laurie, I'm going to say one more again for the 5th time, because we have a comment from Michael Mason, which actually I was going to bring up and I forgot, which is about authorship. Is that still relevant? What's happening with what's the deal with authorship?
You know, it's still relevant. It's something that you definitely want to make sure that you've done if you are a blog writer. You know, not every we talk to interior designers or kitchen designers. Not every kitchen designer has the time or initiative to make the blog, and that's okay. But if you are writing a blog on your number one, first, it has to be on your website. I know so many of you that have a blogger and then you have your website, and that's doing you no good. You're bringing your customers to one place and they're not able to find, you know, what you do. All of that information, all that great content that you're writing, number one, you should be getting credit for it, and number two, it should be building your own website up and making your own website an authority. And I think that authorship is part of that. It's knowing who wrote what, and you're building up a reputation of as someone who is an expert in this particular area. And that's never going to be a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Laurie, thank you so much for you know, answering all these questions and giving us your insight, your valuable insight and information. And I will see you around. We'll all see you around. And I know you're always open to people's questions too. You're always a giving, sharing mentor to the interior design community. So thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Thanks for having me.
Okay, and I'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.